All right, peace and blessings, everybody. It's Monday, April the 16th, the year 2018. Sister Carol is the one who brought this man to my attention. His name is Gary Michael Northington. She didn't say a whole lot about him, and so you have to do your own research. I did write him a letter, and today in the mail I received a response back, and we're going to read that letter together. If you bring up the Michigan Department of Corrections, you'll see his picture. Appears to weigh 150 pounds, although I think he says in his letter he now weighs 130 pounds. He's 6'2". He's 69 years old. He's life in prison. Conspiracy to murder. I guess that's different than murder, right? Solicitation to murder. It's almost identical to Schaefer Cox. And then he's got inactive charges of perjury, but the only active charges are solicitation and conspiracy to murder. I believe it was of his wife. So if you look on the internet for any information about him, I came across this lengthy write-up, and I have not read it. What I will do is I will read this into a YouTube into just audio only. It's too long to read into a screencast-o-matic because it's video, and I'll just read it into an audio, and I'll read it and you guys can listen to it if you want. But here is the letter that he sent me. It's Gary M. Northington, and he is in Jackson. It says MI. Hey, what's the two-letter code for Mississippi and Michigan? I always get those mixed up. Help me out here. Two-letter state code for Michigan. You also have Missouri too, right? All right, here we go. Michigan is MI, Minnesota is MN, Mississippi is MS, and Missouri is MO. All right. Sorry about that. I get a little confused. So he is indeed in Michigan. I wanted to make sure that's true. So he's in Jackson, Michigan. There's a Jackson, Mississippi too, right? Anyway, let's see what he says. April the 15th, 2018. No way, man. He wrote this yesterday and it got here today? That seems almost impossible. How in the heck did he write it on a Sunday and it get here on a Monday? That's amazing to me. Unless maybe he made a mistake and wrote it a bit earlier. What's it postmarked? Yeah, it's postmarked April the 13th. He must have added, didn't know the day or something, because there's no way he wrote that yesterday. Anyway, that's his address, and I put his address, by the way, on Year of Jubilee. He's on list of other prisoners, and so you can go there, and it also has the link to that article about him, which I'm going to read in a future video. But let's go back to his letter. Dear Mr. Davis, I am a Bible-believing follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's good to know. I'm really glad to hear that. Many years ago, a hoodlum pointed a gun at me and said he was going to kill me. I laughed at him and said, "So you're going to send me to my maker?" Turned around and walked away. I have 20 copyrighted gospel songs. I have a KJV Bible. Praise God. I was born on November the 15th, 1948. I was arrested on January the 21st, 1987, and have been imprisoned 31 years. I need to take all these dates of his birthday, his arrest date, and things like that, and I need to put it on yearofjubilee.com. The charges are conspiracy to commit a felony, murder. I maintain my innocence. Most of the people helping me have died, like Ted Gunderson, Los Angeles Federal Bureau Chief, retired. Oh, FBI Bureau Chief. You know, David Hinkson doesn't have a very high opinion of Ted Gunderson. But anyway, he said he died of stroke symptom. My story was at one time was put on the web by the Patriot Broadcast Network and News Source, although there were a few things I would have edited out because some prisoners like to make stories for their benefit. I can send you a copy of the web article. I can call you to publish my voice online. I'd like to know how long the time of speaking will be so I can hit the most important points. All right, we'll have to investigate how to put money on his phone account. We have one-page emails at jpay.com. Well, I'm familiar with JPay. Others have to email us first. I need people to write the Michigan Department of Corrections Parole Board and to send a copy of the letter to me so I can file it with them. And then he gives the address for the Michigan Department of Control Parole Board, P.O. Box 30003, Lansing, Michigan, 48909. I am having difficulty finding an address to go to. The Veterans Affairs doesn't answer my letters. I am a Vietnam veteran. I also need for Michigan Department of Corrections to give me a prisoner-type job so I can support myself and pursue my civil rights case. In June of 2016, I had multiple heart attacks and alleged strokes where Corazon Health Incorporated and Michigan Department of Corrections staff sent me back to my cell 5 times to die with blood pressure of 210 over 100 mmHg. The 6th time with blood pressure of 260 over 130 mmHg. I was hospitalized with a coronary artery blockage of 95%. I'm a skinny guy who was almost murdered by bad Michigan Department of Corrections food and lack of medical care. Michigan Department of Corrections will not give me a job because they call me light duty. I agree that I am an innocent political prisoner. I recognize the names of Ed and Elaine Brown, David Hinkson, and Yori Call. I'm surprised Yori is still imprisoned. I recall a paralegal, Mike Brown, as trying to help David Hinkson. I was an eyewitness to judges and prosecutors of Southeast Michigan taking bribes to render court judgments to the highest bidder. I filed an attorney grievance complaint that disbarred the prosecutor for life and caused sanctions on at least 7 judges and attorneys. Enclosed is a flyer I give to almost every state employee who tries to cause me trouble. Thanks for writing. God bless, Gary M. Northington. All right, here's a long... Let's go ahead and read this. Since it's our first time, we've got to learn about him sometime. On February the 16th, 1990, that's nearly, 28 years ago? When I returned to county court to obtain a deposition from Mr. Fry, 3 deputies assaulted me physically in the Monroe County Jail and attempted to break my neck. I sued deputies Walter Hughes, Don Kuhn, Gary Kujawa, and Dennis Smith, who incited it. Northington versus Sherrard et al. U.S. District Court number 90-71522, a lot of numbers, and they settled out of court. Career informant Dennis Pollard was involved. On October the 10th, 1990, in Detroit, Michigan, chambers of Judge Michael J. Talbot, Assistant Prosecutor Greg Jones handed a manila envelope to Judge Talbot while saying, "Here are a couple thousand reasons to decide for the prosecutor." Talbot took the envelope from Jones, looked at the contents, and said, "Couple thousand?" Jones replied, "More like 4,000. I had been placed outside chamber doorway by Deputy Fred Bedford. In December 1990, informants told me a member of my family would be murdered if I testified at trial. I testified. On January 2nd, 1991, someone tried to murder a member of my family. On March 1992, a lieutenant deputy sheriff testified before the Attorney Grievance Commission against Prosecutor Fry. Subsequently, the deputy's son was found dead, a mafia hit. In August 1992, Fry was a party to firebombing the courthouse to destroy records of corruption, a mafia cover-up. On June 24th, 1996, a prisoner involved with informant Dennis Pollard attempted to kill me. I received a 1.5-inch gash on my forehead, fractured vertebra, and obstructive pulmonary disease as a result. It was a mafia hit. On December the 4th, 1996, the ex-prosecutor Fry claimed to find a bomb in his car. He had become loose-tongued about mafia activities. On March the 17th, 1997, prisoner informant Tony Smith, or Alexander, put a deer tick on the back of my right knee while I napped. I developed erythema migrans rash, severe joint pains, and a fever of 103 degrees about 2 weeks later, which Dr. Franklin Messany of Muskogee, Michigan, refused to treat. Lyme disease. Michigan Department of Corrections refused medical treatment upon police instruction from mafia affiliates. In June 1997, I became ill after x-rays were taken. These were mafia hits. On February 4th, 1999, a prisoner informant assaulted and knocked me out without provocation. On September the 3rd, 1999, at KCF, career informant Dennis Erdman, number 205858, attempted to set up a hit on me the following day. On March the 4th, 2000, at SRF, career informant John Joyner, 125052, threatened me and attempted to set up a hit. I haven't heard from my wife since I was hospitalized in June 2016, so I believe she had a bad incident with Mother Nature in freak West Virginia storms, or succumbed to cardiovascular disease. In August 2002, my wife used national radio to expose facts of my illegal detention and the corruption by public and private individuals involved with imprisoning me. Those who prosecuted me retaliated by 3 attempts to cause her bodily harm. On August the 23rd, 2002, they further attempted to kidnap my wife. On August the 24th, 2002, in Toledo, about 100 miles away, there was a concurrent attempt to harm or murder my brother in the same manner as my wife. The lug nuts on my brother's new Jeep were all loosened within 1 turn of being fully off. Walter John Verdon appears to have orchestrated all events and co-opting Timothy Paul Baker. On May the 4th, 2004, another attempt to harm my wife was successful, leaving a penny-sized burn mark and scar. Mr. Frey recorded in court and news media that he intended to institute the death penalty on me and attempted to, as party to the conspiracy, being informed one cannot disclaim personal liability. Holy Bible, Deuteronomy 5, 8 through 9, 30:19, Luke 6:38, U.S. Constitution, a lot of numbers. And then he has an asterisk at the bottom of the page. I testified against now prosecutor William D. Fry on January 16, 1987 and March the 24th, 1988. From May to August of 1988, prisoner informants made unprovoked threats against me on the 16th and 24th of those months. These were psychological theory-based aversive conditioning to testifying orchestrated by Michigan Department of Corrections psychologists, otherwise known as satanic ritual abuse. Let me zoom out. You know, he's got this article here. It's called Ruling After a Decade. Case of Alleged Misconduct Changes Life of Cop and Prosecutor. At the bottom, he's got, based on attorney grievance complaint filed by Gary M. Northington in August of 1988 and companion to grievance, this bunch of numbers. See footnote number 8. I guess this is important. Conflict of interest case drags on in Monroe County. All right, well, I guess we'll read this. You can read this if you want at your own leisure. This is the man we're talking about. He said he's been in prison how long? Oh, my. 31 years. He's been in prison 31 years. And this is my first letter. I'm just now learning about him, and we'll learn about him together. In the next video, as I get time, I'll read this long article that's written about him and his story. This link is also on Year of Jubilee. If you go to Gideon's Army and click on List of Other Prisoners and you scroll down, you're going to see Gary Michael Northington. And looks like I need to fix this, but I put his address, his mailing address, and this should be a link to this article. And also I need to put his birthday, his arrest date, and of course his release date is life in prison. If you look at his release date on this thing, it says earliest release date, and it says life. But he's maintained his innocence, and if you're convicted of conspiracy and solicitation, then there's no victim. It means that the government said that you conspired with somebody else to do something, but whether it happened or not, nobody knows. They said that the prosecutor's best friend is conspiracy, because he can prove anything he wants when he goes after conspiracy. But we're going to learn more about Gary Michael Northington, and if you want to write him a letter, I encourage you to do so. He does claim to be a Christian, and he does maintain his innocence. Thank you for your time.